Hi, I'm Cassidy, and I'm going to start my TED Talk off with a little story about when I was in 7th grade. Now, 7th grade was a good year for me. It was the first time I really felt comfortable in my own skin, and the first year I had a teacher that I just really liked and really respected. And the most prominent memory I have of him is when he was talking about all of his students and how he could tell the difference between those who are motivated internally and those who are motivated externally. And he said that while no one should be ashamed for having external motivation, those who rely on that completely will more often than not find more difficulty in accomplishing their goals than those who have that strong internal drive. And then he pointed at me and he said, take Cassidy for example. She's a very internally motivated person. And I just kind of stared at him like, I really have no idea what you're talking about. And then he just laughed and said, you'll understand one day. And that thought always stuck with me because I always wondered if people really could tell the difference between those who are motivated internally and those who are motivated externally. And that question wasn't answered for me for a very long time. And this led me to my research, through which I discovered a psychologist by the name of William Glasser, who developed this thing called the choice theory. And what that theory states is that all humans have these 5 basic biological needs that internally drive all of our decisions. I find it difficult to believe that all people are so internally motivated. If people were so biologically driven to survive, then there wouldn't be people every day that commit suicide. And if people were so enticed to belong, then there wouldn't be people on this very campus that would tell you they'd rather be by themselves. And we may very well have these needs encoded in our genes, but the reason not everyone acts on them is because people are affected by external motivation, some so much so that they rely on that to make their decisions. And this is when I had to stop and ask myself if I was one of those people that let my external environment control me. And I knew that the answer was no, and the reason was because of something that I do every single day, and that's play water polo. And this took me back to the very first day that I ever decided I wanted to play this sport. And I can remember being so excited, thinking I was finally going to be a part of a sport in high school. And the very first thing I did was go and tell my brother and my parents. And in the expression they stared back at me with, I realized that this was the very first time I ever told them I wanted to do something that they did not believe I would be able to do. And that thought lit a fire inside of me, because it made me doubt myself. And that is a fire without which I would not still be in this sport. And then I remembered another time that occurred last year during Hell Week, which tells you how important it is to me because I hardly remember anything from Hell Week last year. But I was sitting in the office and I was just feeling so tired and so discouraged, and I really didn't want to keep going. And that was the first time that I ever saw this quote written on the wall. And I could just feel the pride and the passion that was engraved inside of every single word and every letter of that quote. And that was the very moment that I realized that no matter what, I could not quit. I had to keep going because I had to know what that kind of pride and that kind of passion felt like. And with that, the fire inside of me got a little bit bigger. And it continued to grow with every single one of my friends that quit, and every tear that fell from my face, and every time I felt utterly sick to my stomach. Because I wasn't doing this because I thought it would be easy, and I wasn't doing it to prove anything to my parents, and certainly not to impress my friends. I was doing this because I had to prove to myself that I could. I was doing this because I had to prove to myself that I was good enough. And so really what I learned from this is that you can't let that fire inside of you be extinguished by external temptation. And you can't let the pain or the fear or the peer pressure or anything else get in the way of you and what you want to do. And you have to let that fire grow until it extends all the way out into your fingertips, and you can feel that more than anything else in your entire body, because that is when other people will be able to see it. And so the answer to that question is yes, people can tell the difference. Thank you.